the American people will not be fooled in November. What the Republican leadership is presenting is a bill that clutters up the minimum wage vote with, surprise, surprise, tax cuts for the wealthy. Actually, it isn't a surprise at all. The Republican answer to every problem is more tax cuts for the wealthy. Medicare prescription drugs, tax cuts for the wealthy drug companies and HMOs. An energy bill, tax cuts for the oil and gas industry, despite their record-breaking profits. And now an increase in the minimum wage with estate tax cuts for the wealthiest few attached. The Republicans believe that low-wage workers don't deserve a raise unless Paris Hilton also gets a big tax cut. No wonder the American people are so sick and tired of politics as usual in Washington. I would ask my Republican colleagues, why is it so impossible for you to do anything good for working families? Why does it cause you such pain and anguish and hand-wringing? Why can't you just do the right thing? Congress has not raised the minimum wage since 1997. That's 9 years. During that same period of time, Congress has raised its own salary 8 times. Now that's what I call out of touch. The congressional pay raise, just the amount of the pay raise in the last 9 years has been $30,000, almost triple what a minimum wage worker earns in an entire year. The average corporate CEO, who will benefit, of course, from the estate tax cut, earns more before lunchtime than a minimum wage worker earns all year. A Republican health staffer told the Columbus, Ohio Dispatch, and let me quote, "Not too many people work at minimum wage anymore. I don't think it gets you anywhere politically," end quote. Mr. Speaker, politics aren't the point. The point is to make sure that people who work hard every day in this country have enough money to feed their families and pay their rent and fill up their gas tanks. Nearly 15 million Americans will benefit from a minimum wage increase, 6.6 million directly and 8.3 million indirectly. Almost 60% of these workers are women, 40% are people of color, 35% of them are their family's sole wage earners. You want to talk about family values, about helping children? Just raise the minimum wage. Even worse, Mr. Speaker, the massive estate tax cut being tacked onto this bill will actually harm those hardworking families by adding millions of dollars to the national debt. The children of today's minimum wage worker will have to pay that debt. They will have to deal with increased interest rates. They will have to deal with China and other countries controlling the debt of this country. They will have to deal with the cuts in education and health care. It's outrageous, Mr. Speaker. In addition, this rule makes in order a pension bill that not only misses an important opportunity to deal with this country's retirement security crisis, it also will lead to benefit cuts for millions of American workers. And let me just again clarify for the record so there's no mistake. This is not a conference report that we're voting on here tonight. I want to make it clear because there's some misunderstanding. This is not the result of the conference negotiations that we have this bill before us tonight. The pension bill fails to encourage companies to keep offering traditional pensions to their workers. It fails to prevent companies from using bankruptcy to dump worker pension plans. And it fails to stop companies from awarding lavish retirement compensation packages to executives at the same time they cut workers' benefits. I can't say it any more plainly, Mr. Speaker. The priorities of this Republican leadership are not the priorities of the American people. What the American people want and what they deserve is a clean up or down vote on increasing the minimum wage. We have voted on this issue in various procedural votes over and over and over and over. We want a clean vote. We want this to become the law of the land. We want to make sure that low-income wage earners get the raise that they deserve so they can get out of poverty. And what the American people also want and deserve is a pension bill that protects them. They won't be getting any of that today, Mr. Speaker. So I urge my colleagues to reject this rule, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to yield 2 minutes to the Republican Conference Chair.